guys, welcome to today's live. Don't worry, I did wash my pajamas and I did shower, so I love these pajamas and I'm gonna live in them for a little bit because they're very soft. But I know there's like I do want to welcome everybody tonight. Welcome. Thank you to everybody who has supported my lives, to my new subscribers. Welcome. We're going to do a video. So I'm going to tell you the very first day that I worked from home, from a job that was work from home, and it was a different company than I am working for now. And the first day was actually in July 3rd of 2021. So in July of 2021, I get this job where I am working for Cox Communications as a care representative. I'm dealing with minor IT things like remotes and swapping them out and getting them new boxes and scheduling the thingamajigger, like the technician to come out. So that was my job. I dealt with angry customers, when they would take the basketball off the local channels and you could only get basketball through NBA Pass or something like that. I would do that. Well, one day because I went to work at like 12 to 9. That was my schedule, 12 to 9. And on the weekends, I would get off early, or I would work Monday through Friday, depending on where they needed me, what I needed to do. So the day I get up for work, I get dressed, I'm in my outfit for work, and all of a sudden I get these alerts on my phone that we're under tornado watch. Not a warning, an actual watch. There's a difference. And so I turn around. Hi, welcome. Thank you for subscribing. So I turn around that day and I'm watching my phone and I'm talking and my internet's acting up and the wind is going crazy and you can hear the rain and you can hear the thunder. So I immediately had to take cover. And at my old job, you had to contact HR. Then you had to contact your supervisor. Well, they never told me who my supervisor was. So this is how me and my supervisor met. So I tell her, hey, my name is Topanga Jameson, and I have something going on at work. I said, ma'am, we haven't got this much activity in tornadoes in many years. The last tornado we got was in 2010, prior to this point. Okay, so it had been a while. And so I tell her, I explain, I take cover. And for the first 6 hours of my shift, I could not work that day because we were constantly under the weather. So I finally come back to work and she says, hey, can you come in early tomorrow? I'm like, sure. She's like, hey, this is your first day, right? She said, you were actually not supposed to be here until tomorrow anyway. I said, I'm so sorry. I was told by HR to be here. I'm sorry, but I really like this job and it's really awesome. So, and she said, okay, thank you for letting me know. And we just started talking and she said, hey, next time there's bad weather, call me directly on Teams or call me on my personal cell. I said, well, my power went out, and that's why I called into the office or into the HR first, and then I called you. She's like, and I said, HR gave me your cell phone number, and she's like, cool, whatever. And so I'm sitting there. So my first day of work, I was on the phone with one of the VIP clients and they're like, are you going to take cover? I can hear that all the way over here. And I'm like, no, you're my priority. They're like, there comes a point when you have to put yourself first, and I'm like, no, I'm good, I'm good. And finally my boss calls me and she's like, go take cover. Go take cover. You're fine. Go take cover. So tomorrow I work, but I'm at a different job now. I work for a different company. Love it. I have been there almost 3 years. November 14th of this year will be my 3rd year at this company, and I hope to stay here for a very long time. So at this point in time, now I'm going to tell you another story time. And I have talked about this house. I have talked about weird things that have happened. I have talked about, certain things. I have my cup of tea, so if you haven't got, and I have green tea with a little bit of creamer in it. And if you haven't gotten a drink, go ahead and get one. So glad you're here. Welcome to all the subscribers who have subscribed. To the people who are watching, give this live a thumbs up. I was supposed to go live earlier today, but I was getting laundry done. I was getting everything done because Monday I have to work, and then, yeah. And so, where was I? Sorry, ADD. So I have been in this house for a very long time, 10 years, almost 10 years. And that, in this time, I have weird things happen. We had a flooding issue happen multiple times in this house. We have had my security system act up, and there's been no rhyme or reason for it acting up. They'll come out and they'll check it and they'll be like, everything's fine. So one night in particular, my family had gone on vacation, but because I had to work, I had to stay behind, and I decided since I was staying behind, I was going to watch the dog. So we wouldn't have to put the dog in the kennel because it can be very expensive. So then we turn around and they go on the trip, and I was also house sitting for a friend, so I was going in between the two houses, and I was working a full-time job. So one night, my guilty pleasure, I like 90s sitcoms and 90s rom-coms. They are one of my favorite genres. And that night in particular, I was watching the original Scream movie because my old boss said that I looked a lot like Neve Campbell, which when I have my hair cut a certain way and my face is not so puffy, I have a allergy issue right now. But so then I turned around and I was going in, and I was just like watching everything. I'm watching the movie. I'm really intense. I have my popcorn, I have my drink, and I'm just watching. And I have like my vintage TV tray in front of me because I had ordered pizza. So I have my pizza and I'm eating it and I'm watching the movie, and I hear like somebody's trying to get in the front door. I have a thing where you have to press a code and then it does this and then it'll turn and you can get in that way. So I turned around and I went and I looked, I turned on the porch light and I said, "Who's there?" in a really diminished voice. And so I grab a knife from the kitchen, I open the door, and nobody's there. Nobody's there. It's pitch black outside. It was like 10:30 at night. And so I close the door, I lock it, I put the security system on. Well, 2 minutes later, it does it again. And it goes, and I'm like, so this time, I open the door and I'm like, look here. And I'm, at this point, I'm losing my And so 2 days later, my mom tells me that this has happened to her. She told me what to do. So I changed the batteries and I finished my movie, and I'm like, okay. So the next morning, the security people come out and they're like, we don't know what's going on. We've never had something like this happen before. Do you have a key fob? And I showed them, and they're like, okay. So they swapped out my key fob, and they're like, maybe this will help, maybe this will help. So they swap everything out. They get the new system put in. Well, what they didn't tell me, if there was ever bad weather or if there was ever a carbon dioxide leak, this thing will start alarming and it will start talking to you. And if you're not used to the robot voice, you're going to be dealing with almost jumping to the ceiling because it is creepy. So I'm sitting there and I finished my movie because I had to stop it. And they're like, hey, we would come out right now, but there is a service fee if we come out later at night than if we come out in the morning. I was like, that's fine. I don't go to work till noon, so it's fine. They're like, we'll be here at 10:30. Cool. So in that same time frame that everybody is out of town, I am watching the dog. I start noticing like that I would put like makeup on the counter and it would end up on the floor. I didn't knock it off. It was scooted way back. Things like that would happen, and I would smell funny smells in the home, like perfume, and it's not even a perfume I wear. So I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. Things like that would happen, and it was just unexplained things. So fast forward, it's been about 6 months ago since this incident has happened, but there was another incident that happened. But I know I have some new subscribers, people who probably don't know, but about 6 months ago, I was getting ready for work, and I had gotten up at 10, and usually, hey Sally, I don't get usually up. If I'm working, sometimes I get up at 5, sometimes I get up at 6:30, sometimes I get up at 8, sometimes I get up at 7, or sometimes I get up at 11 and then just immediately go clock in. When it's time to clock in, I'll have my coffee and I'll go to work. Or sometimes I clock in 5 minutes before work because I get up, go to work, and that's just how sometimes my day works. Well, I'm getting better at that. So then I turn around. So that day in particular, something woke me up, and it was like 8:30 in the morning, and I hear this really big noise, like somebody is in my backyard, or they're working, and I can hear them. So I holler out to my uncle, and I'm like, Uncle T, what's going on? Because his name's Tom. And as soon as I said that, I go to the bathroom, I make the bed because that's my ritual. I'll get up, I'll go to the bathroom, and then I'll make the bed and, mop the floor if I have time and sweep it. Well, sweep it first, then mop it. And then that way I don't have to do it on my lunch break or anything like that. So that day in particular, I wake up and something abruptly wakes me up, like I heard my name being called. That's why I called out to my uncle, because he has and I was like, that doesn't sound like my uncle, it sounds like a female voice. And my uncle is big macho dude. He played football in the Navy, he played football in the Air Force, and he served our country. So he's a big burly dude. Ain't always bright, but but we love him. But so I go through the house, and before I could go through the house, I came out of my bathroom, I put my makeup on real fast, I get the clothes I'm gonna wear to work, And I was like, so I was sitting there a minute and I was like, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a woman standing there, and I'm like frozen in fear because I was like, did somebody break in? And I'm about to call 911 on my phone. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call 911 because this is creeping me out. And I want to get this taken care of because if somebody is in the house, I want to make sure that it's taken care of before I go to work. So I see the person do this. And I'm like, okay. And so I don't think anything of it. And I couldn't even speak because I was so petrified. The hair on the back of my neck, if I had any, probably stood up. And then I was sitting there and I was like, what am I seeing? And it was only like I was seeing part of the person. So I saw that the person had blonde hair and it was short and it was in a bob. And I saw, her do this, but I didn't really see much of anything. And I was about to say something and I said, hey, Uncle Tom, are you here? Because I'm thinking, maybe I was thinking, okay, it's not my aunt. It could be somebody else. And so I go in and I'm looking throughout the house and I come back and I have this weird feeling like somebody is in the house. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get to work. It's 2 hours before I have to go to work. So it's 2 hours before I have to go to work. I'm not late, so I keep looking throughout the house because I'm like, okay, that was kind of weird. And as soon as I said Uncle Tom's name the third time, it was like they were gone. So I was like, okay, and we were sitting there and so So at this point in time, after that day happens, 6 months pass, and I was one night doing laundry. I had to do laundry. Everybody was out of town, and I was house sitting for a friend. So I was like, okay, I was in between this house, that house, and everybody in between. So my friends had just left. We had pizza, and I see the woman again, and I'm like, okay, maybe, I'm tired. I haven't really slept because my neighbors were blaring music, so I'm like, okay, maybe I'm, you know, thinking, hi. So then I turn around, and me and my friend comes back because she left her purse and some stuff. And I am like petrified, like I've seen a ghost, and my face is white. It is white as it can be. And so then I sit there and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, nothing. I'm not going to explain this to her because, not everybody believes in this stuff. And I turn around, and so that next morning I wake up, I'm doing everything, I'm making the bed, I'm vacuuming, and I'm getting ready for a video that will be coming out later this month. It's my 1950s cleaning routine. And I'm like, okay, this is a logical reason. I was probably tired and, I'm going through my head. And as soon as one night I get on a live, I had just gotten off work and I was exhausted, but I knew I had promised a live. And 2 minutes before I start the live, my phone goes flying like somebody had thrown it from my desk. At that point, my desk was in my living room in my little nook area. And it was like somebody had thrown my phone. and I'm just like creeped out. Like, I'm like, okay, this is kind of creepy for me. But yeah, it was the worst experience. So, you know, things still happen in the house because people have seen my, you know, haunted house or the experiences I've had and asked me, and I've been like, yeah, that has happened. But I hope everybody has a great night, and I will see you in the next live.